If you have done psychedelics and feel as if you have lost your mind, this video is for you. I am an integration specialist and essentially help people merge themselves with the medicine so that you realize essentially you are the medicine and you were the medicine the whole time. This is to remind you that you are not actually going to some place or to some foreign entity or being or dimension beyond what is here and now. The purpose of the medicine is to merge you into a single unity of that place and this place, which is the now itself, one presence. Psychedelics is essentially a tool for getting us out of our own way, because it's only natural that we fight, we cling on, we resist to this mind body and our memory in the moment of death, because death is very abrupt and immediate, which is why if you have been in psychedelics, you understand the resistance, you understand the fighting, the ceasing to let go. We want to cling on just a little longer, and it's the very same when you're on your deathbed. We've put forth a lot of effort into constructing this illusory identity known as the ego, and therefore we put as much effort into defending and protecting this identity, naturally so, because we think this is really who we are. But the reason psychedelics get you out of your own way is they force you to let go of this ego, this identity which you have never been, so that momentarily you can see and meet yourself beyond what you actually thought you were. And in doing so, it's supposed to merge you into the single unity, which is presence, which is this I am, so that when you come back to the body, you're not actually returning to the body. You have merged the void which you just experienced with this witness, this seer right here and now. One of the most common things I hear people mention in psychedelics is they wish they could remember what they just experienced. And the reason you don't remember what you just experienced is because you are going back to the false self, the identity, which needs to hold on to and remember the experience. I hear many folks mention the words going back or needing to go back or return to the medicine to get more downloads, to get further in a dimension, to meet further entities. However, these are all tricks of the mind, which I call a jester, because a jester is constantly playing tricks on you, is constantly trying to fool you, which is essentially what the egoic mind is doing at all times. Through playing such games, it is further prolonging you from making the inevitable realization, which is made at final death. When you die at once, you realize who you have never been, and that these missions to meet entities or to go further in dimensions only belong to and serve the ego. What fighting death or resisting death looks like is trying to cling on to the memory, the mind memory of this body. So we'll look for loved ones, family, friends. We'll look for places which we have very sacred memories. We'll look for our job or things that we can describe ourselves in this identity or this fashion as. And essentially what these are tools which keep us holding on a little longer. So when you hear about people resisting death or fighting to hold on, this is essentially what it means. You are clinging to a memory, to a person, to a place, to a thing, and that person, place, or thing reinforces the idea that you are this individual separate to all people, places, and things. But the moment you let go of that mind memory attached to this identity, you instantaneously embody all people, places, and things, which can only be described as the void, the absence of nothing yet the presence of everything. Now, some people in psychedelics have no idea what they've signed themselves up for. The more accessible it becomes to people, the more it likewise becomes abused. So people must understand psychedelics is not a one-size-fits-all cure. It's not some tool that's going to bring everyone the same outcome. It is solely based on you and how persistent, how true you actually want to know who you are. It's not a tool to see some entity or to go to some further dimension or to, see these elves or whatever people talk about, seeing through various entities. It is essentially a tool removing you out of your own sense of control so that you can, for once, face the void, which is yourself, because we are the void masked from ourselves here and now. The truth of the matter is the void, that presence which is there, is here. But we have put forth such great veils through our words that we are veiled from the truth of who we are. The body is the boundary to ourselves. The earth is the boundary to the body. The sky is the boundary from the abyss. The sky is what prevents us from looking into the void, because if the sky wasn't there and it was see-through, you would be looking into the void itself. But the truth of the matter is none of these veils, none of these boundaries actually exist beyond what we project into them, which means the void, that presence, is here and now. So psychedelics is not taking you to some place foreign than this one, although it may appear as so. But the reason it appears different is because we have put forth so many veils here, and seeing is believing. So if we believe in these things, if we believe in our false self, then everything here will simply mirror back to us what we believe. So an out-of-body experience is not actually taking you out of the body, it's showing you to yourself without the mind-body present, which naturally causes all veils to fall. Because what projects these veils is our words, and seeing is believing, so we see these veils as deep as we've seen ourselves. The purpose of the out-of-body experience is so that you don't return to the body, you don't return to the ego, because it is the ego that says they don't remember what they just experienced and so goes back. But the point is to merge these two different places or entities or experiences into a single unity. What psychedelics does is it merges the two hemispheres of your brain into a single unity so that you break through the confines of duality. Because without psychedelics, we tell ourselves through the egoic mind that duality is law, but duality is only law for the ego, because without this law, the ego cannot exist, which is why the final conspiracy is not with you and the world, but with you and yourself. It's you facing yourself in a very immediate and abrupt moment and realizing that you are not what you've assumed yourself to be this entire time, which is reality shattering. It's not for everyone. Not everyone can handle it, which is why the fighting and resistance comes into play. The truth of the matter is, you must essentially lose your mind to find yourself beyond this temporary mind body, this boundary we have created. And it's not a losing your mind as in, you're in a psych unit in a straitjacket. It's the losing of the mind, which is the shedding to all these pieces or veils which represent separation, that reinforce ourselves as this ego. This is what is being lost so that we can again unify ourselves with the whole we call God, so that we can experience all is one, because it's easy to say all is one, but it's very different and terrifying when you actually embody this meaning, all is one, because instantaneously all people, places, and things merge into your presence, which is expressed as the void, because it has no word and it cannot be described in any other fashion. There is nothing to remember or know, which is the ego's biggest problem. The ego must remember or know something, because surely the truth must be a complex and scientific answer, but it's in fact the exact opposite, which is why the child is the highest and purest expression of God itself, because the child knows nor remembers nothing. They simply dance around for joy in a way that the adult does not understand, because they are radiating the highest expression of existence, which is pure love. This is why as adults they warn you not to grow up too fast, because you will fall into the same dream world, into the same trap which we have. We lose our grace by losing our innocence.